I've been very fortunate in my life to actually be able to follow careers in what I love doing.
Prima di tutto, per fare questo mestiere lo devi amare. Quindi se tu ami una cosa, tu la vuoi. Tu vuoi dare tutto.
I was always in search of that feeling that me and the machine was one, and that I could ride it better than anybody else on that day, on that time.
The most important thing in my life, every single day, every single minute, every second, was racing that Grand Prix bike.
It was my livelihood, it was what I loved, it was what every day, night when I went to sleep, that's what I dreamt about. When I woke up in the morning, it's what motivated me.
You know, it's what you love first and foremost, but it's also your livelihood, you know, and the World Championship is everything, you know. At that point in time, there's nothing else counts but that World Championship or that winning that race.
Quando si inizia a correre è già un sogno vincere una gara, no? E invece essere diventato uno dei più forti, uno di quelli che ha vinto di più, è un grandissimo onore per me.
It's the little details that make a difference in a motorcycle Grand Prix. Success does not just depend on ability and talent alone. That must be added to with effort and teamwork. Victory or defeat is decided by precise movements, when every thousandth of a second counts. The prestige of the MotoGP World Championship has been forged over 70 years of racing, of dreams, of successes, and of failures. Ever since 1949, the passion, the engineering, and above all the speed of this series have turned it into the very pinnacle of motorcycle racing.
At the conclusion of the war, it took several years before Europe was reorganized enough in order to contemplate motorsports. Remember, motorcycle Grand Prix racing began 1 year before Formula One. They started in 1950, we started in 49.
1949 onwards, from the start of the championship, the dominant producers of motorcycles in the world were British factories. And of course the factories went racing. Norton, Matchless, Velocette, all these names. If you wanted to sell motorbikes, you had to race. The industry lived in Italy, the industry lived in the UK, so that's where the riders came from.
So the riders who were there through, I mean, they were superb ambassadors for the sport, and they were very well accepted by the public, and this was what helped to make the motorcycle sport so popular.
Get a unique MotoGP viewing experience with Video Pass. Stream any session on your TV, or take control with your laptop or computer with the multi-screen feature. Enjoy Video Pass on all your favourite mobile and tablet devices. Also on Amazon TV, Roku TV, Apple TV and Android TV.
So the Isle of Man TT, it was the iconic race really, the big challenge to generally start the season. The circuit is 37 miles, 50-something kilometres, so an incredibly challenging track. A lot of changeable weather. You could start in sun and be riding in fog and rain and mist on the mountain. It's always been a course described as the world's most dangerous.
It was a tough time. You had to be particularly strong-minded to race motorcycles and race cars in that period. But it was the spirit, you know, the spirit that some would say that they had when they fought in the war that wasn't that far gone. It was that way they lived.
Obviously, technical considerations have changed considerably, and probably the styles, how you have to ride, but just the same, I think competitors today must still have that same urge of coming together with a piece of machinery, which is a wonderful sensation, and something which, you know, I love.
The World Championship began with 125, 250, 350 and 500cc categories, with Les Graham going down in history as the first ever winner of the 500cc title on an AJS. However, it was another Brit, Geoff Duke, who took 4 Premier Class titles during the 50s to become the first ever superstar of motorcycle racing.
Everybody in Britain, I think, knew of Geoff Duke, and he was, you know, Sportsman of the Year in 1951 in a national poll. And so it was bigger than football, bigger than cricket, bigger than the Olympic guys. It was a big deal, and yeah, it was front page news.
Geoff Duke has broken the record by lapping in 24 minutes 21 seconds, an average speed of 93 miles per hour.
I can remember going to the cinema and hearing the famous commentator, it's the Pathé News, it's the TT race in the Isle of Man. Geoff Duke on a British-built Norton winning TT race, beating the rest of the world. It really did take everybody's imagination.
In my time motorcycle racing, I can honestly say that I haven't come across one single occasion, either by a British or a foreign competitor, of any bad sportsmanship or, shall we say, doubtful work. And I think that in itself is a tribute to a most wonderful sport.
In many ways, he was the first professional. He was the man who realised that streamlining was important, and he got his tailor to make a set of one-piece leathers that didn't flap in the breeze like they used to wear trousers and jackets. Duke realised that the slipstream was vital, especially if you rode a Norton, which was down on power compared to the Italian bikes.
Gilera won 2 500cc titles with Umberto Massetti in 1950 and 1952. But Duke was not prepared to give any more titles away, certainly not without a fight.
The Italians had power, 4-cylinder engines. The British had motorcycles that went round corners, little, light, low power.
And he went to Gilera, and it was big news in the UK because the British champion was defecting to the Italian opposition. But it was controversial. He got some criticism, and he felt quite bad about it. But British world champion on an Italian bike was better than no British world champion.
Look, he was the Valentino Rossi of the time. He made the headlines. He certainly put motorcycling on a different level in those very early days, and was a magnificent rider.
During the 50s, the safety of the circuits, which were still public roads, became a problem, as did the lack of money being paid to the privateer riders. Duke decided to support a rider boycott in 1955 and had his license revoked as punishment. The Brit was banned from racing for 6 months, during which time another great 500cc world champion emerged in the shape of John Surtees.